Yeah, he was here yesterday. Really?
All right, I want to welcome everybody to our press conference for the Auburn game this Saturday. I want to urge all fans and probably media to come early. 12:07 kickoff on ABC. It'll be seen in 100% of the nation. Yesterday, the ACC announced the Florida State game time will be announced on Sunday, and I'll send out an email on Sunday afternoon as soon as I know that time. I want to thank Herb and Tyler from Chick-fil-A and Clemson for providing our lunch today. I'll turn it over to Coach.
Did somebody leave a recorder in here yesterday or over the weekend? If you're missing one, there was one in here. I don't know. Maybe you did and you claimed it. You're not telling. Anyway, good to see you guys today. We're excited about, the opportunity to play Auburn this week and get another shot at those guys. I think everybody's probably got pretty vivid memories of our game last year down there, and they went on to obviously have a great year and become the national champion, and they're coming in here with a 17-game win streak, and I got a lot of respect for them. People say a lot of things about this team, the Auburn team, but the thing I would say is they just find a way to win, and that's what winning does. When you win games consecutively like that, you just a belief comes about, a swagger, a confidence to where you just feel like you're going to make a play. And I haven't been a part of a 20-something game win streak as a player and a coach at Alabama. You just expect to win, and so that's a tough nut to crack. This is the stakes get a little higher this week. This is going to be a tough out for us once again, and we're going to have to play well. They're a very opportunistic team. They have some unusual things happen, and but you got to give them credit because they seem to be in the right place at the right time. But for us, it's simply just a great opportunity, and it's not often that you get the national champion to come to your place, and I think it's only happened 2 other times here at Clemson. So it's not something that comes around very often, and we're gonna have to play better. Certainly the champions, and they deserve that until somebody knocks them out. And there's a long list of folks who've had a shot, and we can get our shot this week. But defensively for us, we first of all, we've got to play with a lot of poise, and I think that's going to be really important in this game. Obviously, the guys will be excited to play, but we got to play with poise. We always have to stop the run. I think that's something that Auburn wants to do. They want to be able to run the football, and if we can stop the run, I think that's going to give us an advantage. And certainly we have to tackle better than we've tackled these first couple weeks. And their quarterback is a good player. I've watched Trotter for a long time when he was playing at Briarwood there in Birmingham, and he's a winner. And if you look back at his whole track record, this guy has won a lot of football games, and he's his own guy. He's not Cam Newton. He's Barrett Trotter, and he's a guy that we have a lot of respect for. So, and obviously they do. The coaches feel like he was the best guy to give him a chance to win, and that's why he won the starting job. But we'll have to affect him and get after him. I think it's important that we create some turnovers. One of the things that we've done a really good job of these first couple games that we talk about all the time is trying to win the turnover margin and trying to have more big plays than the opponent. And we've done that. It's a big reason why we're 2-0. And if we're going to be 3-0, we're going to have to do that again this week. We've got to try to create some turnovers and win that turnover margin. And then big plays, Auburn has really they've lived off some big plays. So we've got to be really smart and do a good job in negating that. And that goes back to knowing who's on the field and where they are and what they do out of those sets. You better know where 23 is. You better know where 5 is. You better know where 80 is. You better know where 43 is. These are guys that make the plays for them. So, we've got to have a great week of film study and preparation and then execution on game day. Offensively, we just got to play fast and physical. We got to take care of the ball, and we got to execute at a high level. For 4 quarters. that's going to be the key. They're young on defense, but they got a lot of guys that played last year on a national championship team. Not a ton of starters back, but a bunch of guys that's played. Their two ends are very athletic and fast. Played against them both last year, so they're a very good SEC defensive football team. We'll have our hands full there, and special teams is an area that you always try to win. I didn't feel like we won that last week, and we'll have to do better Saturday to beat these guys. But it's really about the Clemson Tigers more than it is the Auburn Tigers. We've got to continue to improve, and it's a battle of execution. They know us well. I think we know them well, and this is a game of execution. So, the team that goes out and takes care of the ball and executes the best is probably going to be the one that wins this game. So, and if you look at us, we've had 2 games. We're 2-0. That's where we want to be. We've had some really good. We've had some really bad. And what we got to do is just try to play a little better, try to play a complete game, and see if we can find a way to win this thing and then get ready for the next one. But we're excited about it. Look forward to the opportunity Saturday. Any questions?
Considering that this is an out-of-conference game and the conference schedule doesn't start until the week after, but can you still look at this as a statement game considering the, I guess you would say, a lack of marquee wins over the past year and a half?
Well, it's an opportunity for momentum. If you look at, my first year, the win at Miami was a big win. It created momentum for us. And then we come back and we're able to beat Florida State and NC State and Virginia and win our division. And I really believe that win created that belief and momentum in our team. So I think it's a great opportunity early in the season to create some momentum as you go into conference play. No doubt about it. And, it's early. And we don't know a lot about this team yet. We got a lot to find out about ourselves. And the only way you do that is to go play. And to be able to play an opponent like this, again, that's longest winning streak in the country, defending national champion, and all that comes with that. Statement game, I don't know about that. I just think it's a great opportunity for us. Whether we win or lose, it's not. I don't cancel the season. We win the game, we got to go play next week. I think everybody's going to want to beat Florida State next week too. They're not going to cancel the season. And same thing if you lose the game. So what we got to do is just focus on playing well, executing at a high level and just trying to win this game and not worry about any of the rest of it.
From what Chad was saying yesterday, apparently things will be turned up physically in practice here in the next couple of days. Is that the case?
Yeah, we'll get after it today. We'll get after it today and tomorrow physically. Our guys, I think, are confident. And they should be. I think we match up well with these guys. I think we matched up well with them last year physically. Physically, wasn't an issue for us. Execution was the problem for us last year. We had a lot of mental errors, missed a couple of really critical opportunities to put the game away. They hit us on a double move for a 70-yard touchdown, and we miss a critical kick in overtime. So, there was just some real missed opportunities. But physically, we matched up well with them, and I'll be very disappointed if we don't this year.
But in terms of what you guys do, have you seen in the past teams you've been with,
Yep.
when you get more, you start getting more in practice, that there's an immediate, result or benefit?
We're going to practice like we always practice. We're going to go against the defense, good on good, inside. We're going to go against the defense, full-speed team pass. We're going to go against the defense, full-speed 7-on-7. We're going to finish practice every day, good on good, best on best, full speed. That's how we practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then that's got to carry over to the game on Saturday. But the biggest thing is we've got to execute. We've had a couple of situations where it's, one guy not doing a job here, one guy not doing a job here, and we just got to put it all together. And again, there's been some really good. We just got to have more of that consistently.
Dabo, when you talk about you matched up physically with them last year, and then we hear Chad talking about we need to be more physical. What And he's talking about toughness and those kind of things. Just give us your thoughts on that. In other words, if you matched up physically against Auburn, what's the problem with matching up physically against
There's not a
Wofford?
problem. We just got to do it. We got to play that way, you know, and that's.
I mean, this year, he's talking about we didn't match up physically against the way we want to against Troy and Wofford.
I think we did some good things, but we're not where we need to be. And, you know, the bottom line is we've done it before. And so we got to continue to improve. You know, I mean, you know, sometimes we throw a big blanket statement out there and you throw them all under the bus. But we do have to improve physically if we're going to be a championship team. There's no question about that. But we got some guys that are doing a really good job. We got some guys doing a really good job, but we got to have more of it consistently. You know, and so that's the whole key to us. And my point in talking about, I've seen us do it, is my point. I've seen us. We've got video evidence. I promise you, if you all ask Auburn who the most physical team they played last year, we'd probably be in their top 2 or 3 answers. I'd be surprised if we weren't. You know, saw Coach Chiswick at the end of the season last year. It was one of his comments to me. He said, y'all were the most physical team we played. And so I know what we're capable of doing. But we've got to go do it on game day, play after play after play. And we got to have 11 guys doing it. And that's what Coach Morris is talking about, is that consistency and in physicality and toughness. You know, but we're a little bit of a work in progress in getting where we want to be.
Still just having to think about everything they do.
Yeah, it's new. I mean, it's new. I mean, you know, they're doing some different things in some areas, and so there's been a little bit of hesitation, and that's some of it. It's 2 games in the season, and you know, but at the end of the day, we've had 900-something yards offense. You know, I don't know how many times we've had 2 games with 900+ yards offense. So it ain't all bad, but there's a lot more. We're leaving a lot of meat on the bone, and that's the frustrating thing as a coach. You see the opportunity for 500+ yards offense in both of these games, and we left a lot on the plate. You know, we actually had 500-something against Wofford, but we lost 45 yards on sacks. So, you know, just things like that. That's the biggest thing. And you're trying to push you guys. You want to push them. Coaches know what's coming. You know, we know that we're going to have to play better to beat Auburn, to beat Florida State, beat Virginia Tech, and so on as we get into this season. So we don't want anybody having a comfort zone like we've done something good. You know, we're 2-0, and that's the goal, but we got a lot of improving to do.
Pretty clear you're getting better. I mean, you're averaging in total offense 100 yards a game more than Auburn is right now. So, I mean, that says something. Are there, from Troy to Wofford, from the offensive standpoint, are there some things you can say, well, we got better at this, or we got better at that?
Oh, absolutely. Oh. How about our quarterback? I thought he played 4 quarters of good football Saturday. Our quarterback played well. We're taking care of the ball. You know, how about the fact that we're 6th in the nation in fewest penalties in the country? You know, so, I mean, we're doing some good things. We're playing discipline, and that's good. We had 1 penalty, and it was a, you know, I mean, it was the right call, but it was, you know, close. So, I mean, those are things I'm encouraged about. You know, you take care of the ball, and I keep saying it. You take care of the ball, and you have big plays in your offense more than the opponent, you're going to win 98% of the time. And you look at the big plays we've created. Well, heck, we were bunting all over the field last year. We've hit some home runs. We scored back-to-back plays Saturday, 45 or 50-yard touchdown and a 74-yard touchdown. Bam, bam. And so when you have that in your offense, you have a threat to score at any time. We're scoring, what are we averaging points? 40, 30, late 30s, somewhere high 30s a game. You know, so I mean, you know, there's a lot of good. You know, Andre Ellington, where is he in the league? He's got to be up there somewhere. Second in the league in rushing, you know, as a guy that we've gotten back. There's a lot of good things. I think we've found some answers out about Phillip Price. I think he's a solid player. And so there's a lot of good. But, from a coaching standpoint, you're always trying to get better. You can't ever feel like, hey, we're satisfied. And then we've made too many mistakes that will cost us as we move forward. And, we've won these 2 games just because we're better. And again, we've taken care of the ball. And if we'd have turned the ball over against these first 2 games, we probably got beat.
Any team that loses somebody like Newton obviously is going to be different. Do they seem, though, to be trying to do some of the same things they did with him and just in a different way?
They're the same offense. The biggest difference is they're just not calling a lot of the quarterback power type runs, those type stuff. And those are things I think that once they saw him live, you saw more of that. And I know watching him on film myself, as they went through the season, I mean, they really involved him more. And once they figured out, hey, we got something pretty special here. So you don't see them, running trotter on the quarterback power, the quarterback counter like they did Cam a bunch last year. And that doesn't mean they won't do it. And that's one of the things I talking to the defensive staff about. Hey, listen, we've got to be prepared for this guy to run the ball. He's adequate. He's an adequate runner, and he can hurt you, especially with, we didn't tackle the quarterback very well last week. So I think we will see him run the ball a little bit. But and then the biggest difference is the scrambling. There's plays last year where, I mean, you play great defense, and then, this guy's just better than your guy, and he scrambles for 30 yards. And that's just called recruiting there. You play great defense and cover him up and do everything, and then one guy doesn't make the tackle, and he runs for 30. And so, that's the biggest difference right now, I think, in their team.
Does he remind you of the Trotter talking about, remind you of Dalton over at TCU? Kind of way to run.
Well, I've only seen him 2 games. I mean, Dalton is I think, just played more, and we'll see. But I think he's got the potential to be a very solid player for him. I really do. He seems to really understand what they're doing. I think Gus is trying to be smart with him, especially early, because he's a first-time starter as well. But he's just going to get better. We'll see how he does. But I think he's a very good thrower. He's made some real timely throws for him. And, but hopefully he has an off day on Saturday.
Coach, obviously, Coach Morris and Coach Malzahn, have a relationship and I guess a mentoring type relationship. Was that type of offense something you were looking for when you went to make that hire?
No, it wasn't necessarily, this is an offense I want. No, I had different things in my mind, and as far as the package that I wanted to put together here, but the biggest thing was, because I didn't know Chad Morris at all. I certainly didn't know he knew Gus Malzahn until I got into the process, and that was one of his references. And so I called Gus up, talked to him several times. In fact, he sent me a text yesterday saying that we're supposed to spot him 7 points since he helped me out with Chad. And I said, I think that. I think a 17-game winning streak and our debacle in overtime last year kind of trumps that deal. So, but he was just very helpful in trying to understand who Chad was, background. I mean, I talked to players, parents, and several coaches. Mike Sherman, Texas A&M, a lot of people. But Gus was a guy that was very, very helpful in me. Making the decision toward Chad. It was a great reference for him.
For as close as that game was last year, and you talked about how well you matched up and really could have won the game, why do you think the 2 team seasons took such drastic turns from that point?
Well, I think that, they had a little bit more than we had in the tank. We got some guys hurt. And that really affected us. And, and our guys, and I don't want to take anything, and I know we didn't have a great season. We certainly didn't have a good record. But our guys played hard. And, you know, we lost 5 games by 6 points or less, and nobody wants to hear that. You know, so our kids continued to compete, but we just didn't have quite as much in the tank as Auburn. And I think, you know, something like that, a game like that, can really, you know, create a lot of momentum for you. And I think it really gave them that boost. They're down 17 points. They come back and they win the game, and then they had some kind of things go their way there, and it just seemed to just propel them. And I would say they'd probably tell you the same thing, that game probably was the catalyst for them bringing it together, pulling it together as a football team, because I'm not sure they even knew really what they had at that time. And so, you know, my hat's off to them, because, you know, what they did last year is not easy to do at all. And they got better and better as the season went. So, and they found a way to win, and that's what good teams do. It's not about, well, you only beat this team by this much, or, well, you know, I mean, heck, we won the national championship in '92, and we were down to La Tech going in the fourth quarter, and David Palmer took a punt back to the house, and we won 13-7. We're down 6-0 to Tulane at Tulane. You talk about a butt thrashing at the half right there, and we come back and beat them. But we got better. We found a way to win, and we're going to win the national championship. Nobody looked back and said, oh, well, they only beat this team by this much and this much. You know, we just found a way to win, and that's what Auburn has done. And I give them all the credit. I don't know if they've been a dominant team. I don't know that I would say that. But they've been a team that has found a way to win every week in that game. Somehow, some way, somebody's made a play, and you got to give them a ton of credit for that. And then as that ball gets rolling and that culture is created, and you get the momentum and that swagger and that belief that comes from having those experiences, you recruit good players, you have a chance to put a streak together like they've done. But again, you know, that's why it's a great opportunity for us this week, because we want to create our own streak here.
You seemed concerned in August about your second string as a whole and the depth. After 2 games, how comfortable do you feel putting those guys in a game like this?
Well, I'm still not very comfortable, but I'm a little better than I was going into the game, just because I have seen some of them play, and you know, some of them guys in the defensive line, you know, Grady and Deshaun and Tavares and Corey, you know, those are guys that they've got to play, and you know, they have played now, so I got a little bit more comfort with them, but we're still a long way away from being where we need to be and where we're going to be. These are going to be good players. Stephon Anthony, Tony Stewart, some of those guys, you know, some of those young secondary guys, they're just going to continue to grow up. But we're still a ways away from really being solid from a depth standpoint. I think at receiver, I've got a real comfort zone with what we have there, and then, you know, I think at running back, we're still some unknowns there. I think Bellamy's a guy we got to get going really with what he can do right now. DJ Howard's probably another guy we got to get going with some opportunities, and I think you'll see that as we move forward. But it's been a little frustrating because we really hadn't even had a chance to kind of get Bice involved because he's been hurt. You know, he missed a lot of camp and missed the first game, and he got a little slight concussion. So it's been setback after setback with him. But and then in the offensive line, still not, you know, overly confident with our depth there, and you know, but that's why we practice, and hopefully as we keep moving forward, some of these guys are going to continue to improve.
How have you seen Chandler mature since the game at Auburn last year, the overtime? How have you seen him coming this year?
Well, he's a freshman, and that was obviously a big moment. You know, especially when you take points off the board and you got to redo it, and then it doesn't go your way, and you know, kind of the weight of the world's on your back, and then did not go on to have a great season. I just think he's gotten tougher. You know, he's matured because of those experiences, and you know, and I'm proud of him again for how he finished the season last year. That kick he made at Florida State was a monster kick to tie that game up right there at the end. And that kind of sparked him, I think, and then had a great spring. He's had a good camp. I know he missed one the other day, but it's just his mentality is better, and hopefully he'll have a big day for us Saturday. But I'm confident with Chandler and what I've seen. I hadn't had any concerns with anything. He's really been a very consistent performer since last spring.
Any changes in that aspect of being snapper holder?
No, we'll have the same operation going in this week.
Correctable then with those guys?
Oh yeah. Disappointing that we botched a couple things Saturday, but yeah, definitely very correctable.
It's off the beaten path, but have you ever seen someone like Sammy who feels every kick and punt above his head?
No, I haven't. And he's sometimes you coach him in all that regard, but he's a snatcher. He catches everything with his hands, and I mean he's very unique. And sometimes he gets in the game and he just reverts back to just his habits, things he's just always done. And bottom line is to catch it. And to be honest with you, some teams in the NFL will coach the guy to catch it like that. But the problem is when you get some of those, the twirlers, it's a little more difficult. But he's no, I've never seen one like him. Never had anybody do that.
Did you watch Cam Newton Sunday, and are you now glad he's wearing Panthers colors?
I haven't seen nothing but Auburn. I lied. I saw Jacoby at like 11:30 last night until I fell asleep. I saw him for just a minute and found out they won this morning. But no, I hadn't seen anything. I had no clue what happened in the NFL except for what the scouts have told me that have rolled through.
I guess one thing we still haven't seen a lot of with this new offense is Todd's running the ball, called runs for him.
Yeah.
Is that something you think will work? Y'all will work more in going forward?
Yeah, I think you'll see us to continue to add that element to our offense, and he's done some running. He's done some. He's some of it is called where it's read type stuff where the read has been to give it. And that was actually one of the problems in the first game is a couple times he gave it when he should have kept it. And he kept it when he should have gave it. But that's a part of what we do. And some called runs for him, some read type runs for him, where the read's going to dictate whether he runs it or not. But then his scrambling ability, that's where he's got to be a difference maker for us. And and that's like I said, that's one of the things that's different about Auburn when you watch them right now. There's a couple plays where they're scrambling, whereas last year, Cam would have gone for 40. And so hopefully, those are some of the things that you'll continue to see us get from Taj. Not that he's Cam Newton, but that we'll get some chunk-type plays off of scrambling. And I think we saw some of that Saturday. I mean, he was very effective as a scrambler, protecting the ball and then how he scrambled. I thought he really improved in that aspect from the first game to the second game.
What do you see that Auburn improved on offensively from Utah State to next year?
Well, I thought they ran the ball a little bit better. They seemed to get Dyer going a little bit more. He had a big touchdown run on a little buck sweep play, which was effective. And then they created some turnovers. I thought they played physical. Probably a little bit more physical than they played in that first game. And again, I don't know what they were expecting in Utah State, but Utah State got after them pretty good now from a physical standpoint. But I think mentality-wise, they were really dialed in on what they were going to get with Mississippi State. I thought they tackled well. Obviously, had a huge tackle on the goal line there to save the game. But again, Trotter looked like he was a little bit more comfortable the second game than the first game.
Both you and Chad mentioned that you'd like to see Brandon Thomas break through and might be looking to get Cloy some more time. Are you going to reserve your decision on whether or not you make any lineup changes after these couple of days of practice?
Yeah, we're gonna get through the week, and again, and Brandon's a guy that we working at left tackle, but we might slip him in there at left guard as well. He's a guy that hopefully we got to get something out of him. He's got to help us. He's got to grow up, and he's starting to show some signs. In fact, I saw some progress this morning. He's over here on his own this morning. Because he has a class issue on Tuesdays, but he's over here, trying to get the installation for the day and taking some initiative, which is good to see.
How about Cloy? I mean, here's a guy who 2 years ago was a starter, and I noticed he's the 6th starter, but the first game he played 6 plays. Last week he played, about 18 or something like that?
Played pretty good too. Played pretty solid when he was in there last week. And we've got to continue to play him, and Robbie's got a good feel for them guys. I mean, he's been coaching OL a long time, and the guys that are the starters are the guys that have earned the right to go out there first. And Mason is not far off from that group, and he may end up being in that group. We'll see. Some guys need to play a little better, and but that's why we practice every day, and you're always evaluating personnel.
How many snaps did you take under center this last week?
How many snaps did we take under center? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. That's probably about right. But we were under center a little bit more this week, but not a ton. I mean, it's a part of our offense, but we're mostly a gun team.
Is there anything specifically that dictates that
Yeah.
under center shotgun?
Yeah.
Field position or just-
Well, I ain't gonna tell you.
I'm just thinking loose hands.
Yeah. It's play call. Play call dictates it, and part of it is the obvious, the field position or situation that you're in. But we it's triggered by what comes off the sideline and how we call it. And then you saw, that was another positive last week. That was a real something you practice all the time in fall camp, and then it may be you don't know when you're going to get a chance to really implement it in a ball game. But our get the ball back, defense. We get a big stop on 4th down to get the ball back, and then there's 3 minutes to go, and our offense is able to finish the game. With a milk the clock mode, and I thought that was it was really good to see, to be able to just finish the game at the end like that and let the air out of it. It was very well executed. It's always nice when you can take a knee to end the game, and so I was happy to see that aspect of our game show up.
Anybody got anything else?
All right.